NFL Elite 8 is here, and I'm here with a man decked out in Raiders gear, man. Raiders. The Vegas Shogun himself in the studio. It's a pleasure to have you, man. You are what I would like to consider, entertainment royalty, because for me being a podcaster and you doing radio for many years, like you were ahead of your time in a way.
Yes.
Tell the people who you are.
I am Jerome Jibreel Wright II, a.k.a. Romy Rome, formerly Romy Rome, a.k.a. Vegas Shogun, a.k.a. the Sin City Ronin.
That's too much to put on a resume. Hopefully you just choose
right?
one of those AKAs.
I just put my dimples on there.
That's that. Yeah. I mean, you're entertainment. All you need is a headshot.
Yeah.
Boom.
I got those, definitely.
So you did radio for a long time.
A number of years.
So did you ever talk sports? Like while you're on the radio, did it always just naturally come out? Because I feel like I myself, you tossed me on the radio today, I could do a great job. But right around hour 3, I start talking some sort of sports, for sure.
Primarily when I initially got my start in radio, I was doing talk radio. Mm-hmm. I was executive producer for Larry Weekly's show Straight Talk on 88.1, which is still on the air. I was executive producer and his co-host. And from that, it spawned the first pure hip-hop show in Vegas, which was Fat Flavor, which Andre Biz Anderson and I hosted together. With the collection of interns from UNLV and some high school.
Nice.
And, I ended up getting suspended for having an argument with a female. And I won't say who she is. She's on the radio still. But, I didn't call her the B word.
Right.
I just said, stop acting like the B word.
And that's all it took back then? I feel like...
Well,
you were canceled in a way.
I was like, I had to learn the difference between confidence and arrogant. And at that time, I was like really arrogant. And my general manager suspended me for a week because he wanted, and by the way, like his name is Sherman Rutledge. Like this guy, he gave me so much freedom as a young black man to grow because I was 2 years removed from gangbanging. How I ended up in college on the radio, like that's really the story. But he allowed me the freedom to express my creativity to the point where there would be times I'd be on the air and I just played nothing but hip hop. I was known for playing nothing but hip hop, like particularly West Coast hip hop. And he would call and he'd be like, Romy Rome, stop playing all that rap music. And I'd be like, God damn it, fuck that shit. Like nobody wants to hear no goddamn jazz music this early in the morning. And I would just, because I'm thinking like a young 19, 20-year-old, like at Saturday morning, if you're a car guy, like, that's what we did. We woke up, we washed our cars half the day, shined them up, polished them, got our workout in so we could be ready at nighttime for the club or whatever was happening. And, at any rate, he never suspended me for cursing him out. He suspended me for associating that young lady with the female dog.
Yeah, I mean... I think it's a mix between that now and you telling me that you were playing rap music and he was probably like, I want to break from this for a second.
Well, he gave me the biggest compliment anybody's ever given me as far as music is concerned because when I graduated, I was gone for like 8 to 10 years and I came back to Vegas to visit and he had a class of interns that he was teaching and he stopped the class and he introduced me and he said, man, when he was, because I was the first class of interns that graduated from 88.1, and he said, man, this guy, years ago, he was telling me that what hip-hop was going to be, and I argued with him and told him it wasn't like rock and roll was going to die out, and now, he was right. It's a multi-million-dollar industry, and this is back, still like in the 90s.
Right.
Or excuse me, now it's the beginning of the 2000s, and now it's become a multi-billion-dollar industry. I probably want to say it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry 30 years later.
Yeah.
But it's heavily influenced everything that we do in society. And I was extremely ahead of the curve because I really saw the vision.
So, all right, let's go with your top 5 right now. Top 5 hip hop and R&B artists.
Top 5.
You're personal. I don't think that like you can make a list that satisfies everyone's needs. So I just need to know yours.
Well, I'm gonna do 2 separate lists because I'm gonna do hip hop and then I'll do R&B.
Okay.
So,
okay. I lumped really 2 different categories there. That's on me.
Because for me,
fair skinned person in the room.
If you see me in the gym or most of the time you hear me, I'm listening to some gangster shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then the homie said to me, "Man, you can't be hard all the time. What about when you with the females?" Oh yeah, you're right. You know, so
okay, hip hop first. Top 5.
So top 5 would be my cousin Eazy-E, Tupac. Then we'll go. Well, but you know what? Like I like to remove them from the list because they're icons.
Okay,
like,
so like they're already on a Mount Rushmore.
My favorite living rapper is E40.
Okay, I like it. Bay Area.
E40. Redman.
It's the first time I'm hearing of Redman.
Oh man, Redman is
I know.
An animal.
I'm disappointing you right now. Have you heard of Redman before, Brian? Yep. Brian has. Shit. All right.
Method Man.
Okay.
Ice Cube.
Definitely like West Coast heavy here.
And then DMX.
That's a solid list. So DMX, Saturday morning, 9:30, X gonna give it to you. 9:30 in the morning, you're probably playing that song.
Oh, I was listening to that on Stairmaster this morning. I promise you. I was in a deep sweat, and like, you know, sometimes people might be uncomfortable working out next to me.
Right.
Because I don't care how bad my voice sounds. I'm gonna be like, arr, 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 arr. Like, why is he on the Stairmaster barking? Like, because I'm praying to Jesus that I can make it through this 30 minutes.
Damn, dude. So true. I think DMX. So here's the thing. I get a chance to announce high school football games, and I have the aux, right? So like I get to play music and stuff. So the first year I'm at a high school game and I play X is gonna give it to you. I had the clean version, but I mean, even though it's clean, it's still that's still pretty rough.
I got a true story about X. In '96, I started my first company, and one of the subsidiaries of my companies, we had executive protection. So when X came to Atlanta for the first time in '98, my security company did security for him at the Atrium when he was premiering his album off of Rough Riders.
Oh my God!
And man, let me tell you something. Like I remember, 'cause at the time I was at DARP Studios. You know, I was also working for Dallas Austin and TLC. So I had my guys over at Atrium, and I was messing with this chick, you know, and like she was like super bad. And she called me up, like she was like, "Please come get me. I can't even walk through this month. These ninjas is all over me." And I'm telling, like she was like a stripper, like she was all that from Atlanta that you could imagine what a stripper would be. And man, when I showed up to pick her up, I thought she was kind of putting gas on it. But man, when I showed up, if the capacity of that club was 2,000, there was 5,000 people in that club.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, there were so many people on stage. I'm surprised the stage didn't broke. Like, just that raw energy, like I'd never seen anything like it. And I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of hating on dude when he first came out, because MTV was like, "Yeah, he's gonna be the next Tupac." And like being from the West, I'm like, "What? Hell no! This ain't no goddamn Tupac and blah 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 blah." So I bought his I went and bought his record. Like I bought his record to shit on it. I bought his record to shit on it, and then like from like the intro, I was like, "What? Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And then. So I get into X, and then I ended up moving to LA in '99, and probably about a year after I'd been in town, I was at at Warehouse Records buying some records, and I got a Dog Pound shirt on, and I come outside and I bump into X. Mind you, he's beefing with Corrupt at this time over the whatever they was beefing over.
Right.
I know I ain't gonna talk about it, but we took a flick together, and he was like so just humble and cool. And I didn't even it didn't even dawn on me till later. I was like, damn, I had a Dog Pound shirt on, and he was showing me love.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like he was truly a genuine dude, like a real cat.
Yeah, I mean, I only know him from like, I guess the first real time that I got introduced to him was when I was in high school, and then the movie Deadpool came out, and I think that it kind of is the modernization of that song that was made so long ago being able to be replicated in all these different ways, which states that you are a legend. Like there's certain.
See, now I gotta. You said Deadpool, so I gotta give a shout out to Rob Lightfield and my business associate Brooklyn Weaver. He's also a producer on Deadpool, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, well,
yeah, shout out.
There
Brooklyn.
we go. Were you like, hey, by the way, you should probably put
No,
X will give it to you.
I had nothing to do with that. I wish I, because I would have got some credits and the mailbox checks.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice.
Just I've been able to meet some pretty cool people.
So you've met cool people, you've done cool things, and lying behind all of it is you're a football fan. And you were giving me a little bit of a rundown how you started off a Cowboys fan, but then your mom had a crazy.
Hold up.
Wait a second. You did say that.
You said that. Like, you make it sound like I picked that. Nobody picks that misery. Nobody picks that misery. I like legitimately, like my dad's family is from Oklahoma and Texas, so I was actually born into being a Cowboys fan. Like the first game that I can remember watching was when Tony Dorsett ran that 99-yard touchdown against the Vikings. Like, I don't know why that vividly sits in my head, but I just remember I was in the living room, like leaning up against the mini couch, watching the game. And, as a kid, like Tony Dorsett was my idol.
Right.
To the point, like, I moved to Chicago for a minute, living with my grandparents on my mother's side. And everybody was talking about Walter Payton. I was like, who's that?
Like, no, it's just Tony Dorsett. He's the greatest.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I found out about Sweetness, later.
Right.
That
prototype, though, is remained consistent throughout it all, though, right? Like a big running back that has the power and the speed. It's a model that doesn't miss, and you see it now with Derrick Henry. Would you compare the two? Like, I don't know if you got a chance to watch Sweetness a lot.
No, of course.
Yeah.
I watched every game as a kid. I used to play football like Jack Lambert. Even though it was like on a hated team.
Jack.
He just was so angry in the way he used to just knock people around. I remember when I went to my coach one day, I said, Coach, what happened to his teeth? And he said, and that's why you don't take out your mouthpiece. And I never did. I never did. But Derrick Henry, I think, is a solid back. I would compare him more to Herschel Walker.
Got you.
Because, Tony Dorsett, he was fast, but he was more elusive. He could stop on a dime and spin.
Right.
And, his jump cuts. I used to emulate, the way he used to jump cut and, do spin on a dime. Because, I had decent speed, but I would juke, like they say, I would cook them ankles.
Right.
That's how I was. So.
It's good vision, by the way. Like, a lot of when it comes to, like, juking and making defenders miss, 100% is your vision and your eyesight. Like, and you don't understand it until you put on a football helmet and you're like, holy shit, I can only see like this. And the way that some of these running backs are able to see somebody that's literally like right next to them and just put the brakes on real quick. I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts.
That's a Marshall Faulk move right there. He used to do that.
It's just like the sense to feel people. It's almost like you're a ninja or whatever. But you had brought up Jack Lambert, okay? And played for the Steelers.
Yes.
So the Steelers put on a performance yesterday that I felt like it was one of the worst Steeler performances of the last 20 years as far as a lack of toughness. And you brought up Jack Lambert. He's probably rolling in his grave right now thinking.
I kind of think that's an unfair criticism that they're getting because they got there. How many other teams didn't get there? And for 17 years, I remember when Mike Tomlin got that job, like as a black man, I was like, wait a minute, they hired a brother? Not only did they hire a brother, but
not like Tony Dungy.
A young brother.
A brother.
Like a young brother.
Right.
Because I was like, he ain't going to last because his fan base is going to hate on him. Right. And he ended up doing what he did and what he's still doing. And just for him to be able to elevate his team the way that he did with really virtually not having a quarterback.
Yeah, they didn't all year.
Your marquee players that are out and still put up, you still got into the playoffs. I just, the game, there was just like a couple errors, like Pickens fumbles that ball, like, he fumbles that ball, then that interception, that was an amazing. He didn't just throw an interception, that was like a hell of a pick.
Yeah.
It was a baller play, but Buffalo did what they were supposed to do, but
So Buffalo, in my opinion, like you said, they did what they were supposed to do. It's amazing that the Steelers were there, but at the end of the day, there comes a point in time in a football season where I need to visibly see that you want it more. It didn't happen. I'll give you a prime example, like the Dolphins, and I know they had a lot of injuries, but the Dolphins.
Thank you for messing up my parlay.
You took a money line, or you took them with the points?
I took both.
Got you. Okay.
I was like, well, if they're gonna win with the money line, then I'm gonna bet the points too.
So you doubled down. You doubled down on one of the worst performances of the weekend.
The over.
So don't take betting advice from you is what we're.
Well, but I was right on the Texans.
So was I.
I was right on the Bucks.
So was I.
I was horribly wrong on the Cowboys, but I got the over right, just in the wrong way.
Yeah. The Cowboys was the anomaly of the weekend, but we want to cover all the NFL Elite 8 games coming up. So we'll start with the two teams that we've listed: the Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs.
Yes,
it's taking place in Arrowhead. What do you think?
No,
it's taking place in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on this? Is, I think, the fourth time that Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are going to line it up against each other.
Yeah. Well, I know that Buffalo's going to be short some linebackers, and because of that, I just think that the Chiefs are going to have a field day. I think they're going to actually motorboat them because their defense has been tremendously underrated this season, and Chris Jones. Like, every season, that guy just jumps off the screen. Like, I don't know what they're going to do about that dude. And, like, they're definitely not afraid of playing in the cold based on what we saw, this past weekend. They're built for that, too. So, I think if I had to pick the score of the game, I would say it's probably going to be, like 38 to, like, 29.
I like that score. It hits the over. That hits the over without a doubt. I'm taking the over no matter what. I do think it's going to be high scoring. You were saying, like, the Chiefs have a lot of defensive talent that just – they're young. They're young on the defensive side. Chris Jones anchors them down. But at the same time, I'm like, I've seen both of these teams give up so many points this year that I know it's going to be a shootout, and there's no way that anybody is going to – slow down Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen, out of all the quarterbacks in the league for the past 2 months, is probably playing the best. As far as overall, like, leader and game manager and confidence in a player.
I can't roll with that.
Give me one then. Give me one that you...
LJ.
Okay.
Because, like, when he first came out with the Heisman Trophy... Now, like, I come from the era where, black guys weren't smart enough to play quarterback. Black guys weren't smart enough to be coaches. So now we're in the era, now you kind of see a few black coaches and you're starting to see more black quarterbacks. And I was really surprised that he didn't get turned into a running back or a receiver because of his speed. Because, it never made sense to me, like, why do you got the fastest and most athletic person not playing the number one position?
Right.
Like, why would you say that? Oh, well, he's too skilled to be like. What are you talking about? And he is that dude. Like, he's the fastest guy. He's the most athletic. And then somebody made a quote. Oh, Tom Brady said this about Lamar Jackson. He said, "Man, that guy never seems like he's out of gas."
It's very true.
And I thought about it. I was like, I can't remember ever seeing a game where he was tired. So he's well conditioned, and the knock on him was he had to, stop turning the ball over in key situations, and he did that in his MVP year. And then last year, like, he wasn't such a good year. He got injured, didn't finish the season, contract dispute. This year, I think he shut everybody up. He let his. Like, every time you seen him do an interview, I'm just on to the next game. I just my team. And that game against the Dolphins,
Yeah.
like the Dolphins are a good team. They got a good defense.
For sure. That was before they had people injured too. Like
And
it was
he cooked their
full
ass.
powered. Yeah. I love Lamar Jackson. He's going to win the MVP award this year.
I got a bet on that too.
Congratulations, because there's no way they're going to give it to Tua
Or
not Tua, Tyreek Hill
Or
or McCaffrey. I was on McCaffrey hard at the beginning of the year, but it's just a quarterback-driven league, and he did play great at the end. It just makes you think, like, what if Josh Allen didn't have a sucky first month and a half of the season? I think he runs away with it. But you go straight to Lamar Jackson. My final takeaway on the Bills-Chiefs is, mark my words, whoever has the ball last, and I know that's the worst, like, sports take ever, but take the over. I think this is going to be, at minimum, both teams are going to score 30 points. That's my take for that one. But since you brought up Lamar, Baltimore takes on Houston.
That's a game that I don't want to see Texas because they're like on a roll.
They're hot right now.
And even though there's tape on Stroud, there really isn't tape on Stroud. Like, it really takes, like, if you notice, like, when a player, like, is hot one year, and then once the league kind of figures him out, the next year they kind of slow him down a little bit.
Yep.
I think that's what, but only time will tell. Just, I think that one, I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
But the Ravens got an excellent defense, and Clowney is definitely an X factor on that team.
Yeah.
They got Roquan Smith.
My favorite two linebackers in the league.
He's a baller. And it was funny. I was telling somebody, they're like, "Do you know Clowney's on the team, right?" And he's like, "He is." Like, what number is he? And I was like, "Guess what number he is?" And he's guessing all these defensive lineman numbers. And I'm like, "No, he's wearing 24." Like, he's wearing 20. He's wearing a DB's number. I'm like, "Yeah." People are thinking that's a DB, and that's Clowney.
I thought it was Kobe Bryant. I thought it was a reincarnation. He's chose football now.
And they got Beckham. They got a lot of speed, but to D'Amico Ryan's credit,
that's like the thing, dude, because like that Houston defense versus the Browns, and I know the Browns were beat up. Okay. They did what they needed to do against the Browns. You knew Flacco was going to make some errors, but not to that level. D'Amico Ryans, just remember what he did with the 49ers a year ago.
Stole our linebacker.
If it wasn't for D'Amico Ryans, like it would, I know, Denzel Perryman, but he got injured in the third quarter.
But he should still be a Raider, but what do I know?
No. Trust me, I'm fully with you. But D'Amico knows what he's doing. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can out-physical Baltimore, because it's going to be
we're going to do that. I don't think they're going to not in Baltimore on that grass field.
Yeah,
but they're definitely going to punch in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how many times I'm going to see two safeties as opposed to just one, and you're going to load the box up and try to slow the run game down. I mean, there's so many ways, though, that the Ravens could beat you, and that's why in this game I have to take Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Even though the Texans are hot, let's go back to something that I've always thought about, though, with C.J. Stroud. He has never seen the dark side. Has, like, life ever gone so good for you? Like, whenever you started something new that, like, every day you wake up and it's like, oh, this is just the greatest thing in the world, right? C.J. Stroud rarely has woke up to, like, what Dak Prescott has to wake up to and is like, oh, Dak Prescott should be fired. Like, all these negative reviews that make you possibly not want to play for that team anymore. CJ Stroud's never experienced that. So this will be the first of it. I don't think people are still going to say he has a great season and everything, but if he gets dogged and embarrassed against the Ravens, that might be his like first douse of reality that being an NFL quarterback comes with, a lot of negativity.
Well, right now he's playing with house money.
True.
Because he's not even supposed to be there. They're not supposed to be in the playoffs. And he doesn't know any better.
Yep.
Like, he's like, I don't want to compare him to Patrick Mahomes because they have different skill sets, but he's experiencing kind of what Patrick Mahomes did with Patrick Mahomes. Because, like, he just, like, did you know who he was when he came to the league?
Patrick Mahomes, I only knew him because you remember John Gruden used to do the quarterback camp thing,
Yes.
so I watched his episode with Patrick Mahomes, and
But did you watch him play in college, though?
of course I did not. Like,
Okay,
who
only
watches
reason-
Big
only
12
reason-
football like that?
Because, like, you know, I'm a Hurricane and Longhorn fan. So I want to say that I saw him, but I didn't know what I was watching.
Yep.
I'll say that. So
CJ Stroud you saw, though. He was on the national spotlight a couple of times. That's why, like, Texas Tech never made it to a national title game. Like, CJ Stroud was in the college football playoff a couple of times.
You know, I hate Ohio State. Let's just, you know, let me get that out the way.
Fuck those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Big Blue, baby.
No, we go with the
You go with the U. Now I'm an Arkansas fan.
Or
I'm an Arkansas fan now. My brother plays for Arkansas. So.
Oh, that's a good reason.
Woo, pig suey, baby. All right. But anyways, you're going back to not being able to see those guys in the moment and not seeing it coming necessarily. I do think Patrick Mahomes is a good comp. I'm not even like exaggerating. The way that CJ Stroud puts the ball on the money with defenders in his mouth. I mean, dude, he's going to make $60 million as long as he stays healthy in 2 years. Like,
I mean, and he's not tucking the ball and running. He's
No.
like staying in the pocket
and chucking
like,
it.
He will run,
Yeah.
but he's looking to drop the ball.
Yeah.
He's trying to drop a bomb on somebody. He's throwing these frozen ropes. He's just doing stuff, you know, at such a high level to be such a new player that is so unexpected. And, you know, somebody was, you know, talking shit about, you know, his Wonderlic score.
Did he score bad?
Yeah, he had like a terrible score. I think he scored like 26 or something like that.
Oh my God.
It wasn't.
I've never
very
taken
good,
it. I kind of want to take it to see what I would get.
But he clapped back and he's like, yeah, something about that score. But like them quarterbacks ain't in the playoffs, and I am.
That's ballers. Fuck.
And like I just like his demeanor when the media talks to him. He's just like so nonchalant, matter of fact.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I just played an NFL game and beat an NFL team.
Yeah. I'm kind of like ahead of my time, and everybody, you know, he's gonna win Offensive Rookie of the Year in a year that Puka Nacua goes off.
Oh,
that's another.
Man.
That's another. I guess that can segue. Or before we segue into like that little debate, do you take the Ravens versus the Texans?
No, I got the Ravens over the Texans. What is it? 7.5 their favorite?
I'll pull it up. Yes. I'm going to say yes because, honestly,
that's
if
what
we're to
makes me
play guess the
nervous.
line, it shouldn't make you too nervous, though.
If I take the point, if I bet them straight up, I think.
Oh, it's more than that, my friend. It's -9.5 right now.
Oh, see.
That's a nervous number right there. Give me the Texans with the points.
See, that's when you messing up my parlays, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude. Ooh, that's a tough number
Yeah,
to beat.
it moved 2 points already because that was at 7.5
Yeah.
or 7, and now it's at 9.
That's dangerous right there. That's dangerous. Okay. Moving on, though, we had brought up Puka Nacua. All right.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua.
Baller.
The Rams-Lions game. Did you watch that in its entirety there?
Of course.
All right.
I bet the Rams.
Tough L for. Well, no. If you bet them, with the points, you got
With
it.
the points. But,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, there was other teams that screwed that parlay up.
Yeah. But you're right. You were right on that one. Puka Nacua is crazy, dude. Like I don't think it has any signs of slowing down either.
Yeah, I was very surprised that there was one catch that he had where he had 3 defenders around him
Coming across the middle.
and he didn't get the alligator arms. He got hit and he took it in stride and kept going. It was like, it was like a couple of hyenas trying to tackle a giraffe.
That's that's funny. If I can get AI to make a picture of hyenas trying to take down a giraffe, I'll do it because it matches it perfectly. Who does that though? That you can remember in recent history being such a young receiver, but is just like fearless. Because he really I see no fear on him at all.
The comparison, I think, who was it that made the comparison? Somebody made a comparison to Anquan Bolden,
Mm.
and I was like, yeah, I could see that.
Larry Fitzgerald?
He's not as fast as Fitzgerald.
True.
Fitzgerald had the wheels, boy.
But I mean, as far as catch consistency.
No, he has hands. His hands,
Yeah.
dude. Like Stafford was putting it on him.
Well, I mean, Stafford too is it. I'm glad that the Lions won because I have a future on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. But Matt Stafford is crazy. Like some of the no-look passes he was making, it just blew my mind, dude.
Sidearm passes around, like
Sidearm, the no-look, literally sideways, throwing the ball facing that way. Just like I don't get it. I don't get how you can have that much confidence.
Like Bruce Arians said, "Oh, I like to watch him spin it."
Yeah, I like to watch him spin it is a very good way of putting it. So they lose. Now the Lions take on the Buccaneers, who shocked the world yesterday.
Man, let me tell you
beating
something.
the Eagles.
That's going to be a tough game for the Lions because they still got that defense. Regardless of what Baker does, David and Shaq, Barrett, like, they got some real ballers over there. And they, like, if you go back and you just watch some of those plays that they made on defense, the way they close on the ball, the way they got a nose for where the ball is at, like, I just got a feeling that the teams that nobody expected to be there are going to be in the last dance.
And these are two of them right here. I loved the Buccaneers going into the season. It's tough for me to say that because I'm a Saints fan.
The Aints,
but yeah, we'll touch on them shortly.
Hey, I want you to know, I felt so bad for you this season. Because I remember I was like, man, I met that guy. He's going to invite me on this podcast. And I was banging on his team like that.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I got to make it happen. I got to touch all bases here. I went to a lot of Raiders games this year, so I knew I was going to have you on eventually. But you literally in a text message said, and like I said, we'll go deeper into Derek Carr in a second. Yo, when can I come on to talk about the Carr wreck? And he spelled Carr, Carr. And I was like, oh, this fucking guy. So,
by the way, ESPN stole that name from me because I've been calling him that for years.
Carr wreck?
Yes, I dubbed that name to him, the Carr wreck.
We'll have to go back and we'll have to pull the receipts. We'll see if there are any receipts out there. If not, ESPN's got you, bro. It's a tough battle to win.
Oh no, it's not the first time the machine has taken something from me.
Okay, we gotta. Now with ChatGPT, we can copyright some things. Quickly, hopefully.
Yes.
So in the future, if you ever come up with a slogan, just let me know. We'll get this shit trademarked. Every time ESPN wants to steal it, they got to pay our asses.
Yes.
Buccaneers, Lions. I do like the Buccaneers with Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield doing something that I saw at the beginning of the year. I don't know if a lot of people did know that this was going to happen, but I was like, Baker Mayfield's a solid quarterback. I think he has the best tools that he's ever had in his entire career with the Buccaneers. Like Mike Evans, that doesn't come around often, people. This dude's gotten 1,000 yards for the last 11 seasons.
And they were dropping a lot of passes last night.
Oh, dude, I was watching. I was like, holy shit.
For them to do what they did against that team with all them drop passes.
Yeah.
And they're going to play inside a dome. So that's going to be a much different team.
And it's just the defenses will have to stand up. I'm really worried because the Lions, they could put up points, right? But the Lions can't stop anybody. They're like the United States border. There's just everyone's coming in.
Yeah, they're like the Cowboys. They can't stop nobody.
Yeah. No, they're.
Can we talk about the Cowboys for a minute?
Let's go. Let's go straight to them. Let's go.
I think the Lions. Well, no, I'm picking the Bucks. I'm going to bet the Bucks because of the point spread.
Yeah.
Even though the Lions will probably win, but I'm gonna bet the Bucks.
It's currently at 6.5 right now. Give me the Lions all the way, baby.
And so the Cowboys got ran out of their own building, and it wasn't just Dak's fault, because he had like CeeDee Lamb, like he couldn't catch the ball for some reason until like toward the end of the game.
Yeah.
So that's not on Dak. Mind you, like you got to elevate your team. You got to find a way, which he wasn't able to do that. But let me jump to the defense. And I'm going to ask you a question before I address the defense. Would you have Ray Lewis playing defensive end?
Never.
So why do they got Micah Parsons playing defensive end?
It's a very great point.
It makes no sense. When D-Law got hurt, they put him in to fill in, and they decided, oh, he can get to the he's your quarterback on the defense. Like, he's the guy that's going to cover Travis Kelce or Kittles.
Right.
Like, stride for stride because he's running a 44.
Right.
You know, why are you – like, it just like, I'm going to be a little controversial by a statement I'm about to make, but it's just like them good old boys. Okay, boy, but just put him down there and go.
Yep.
Like, come on, man. Like, the game now is based more on intelligence than anything. Like, it's not the violent game that I grew up watching. You know, you get – 15 yards, unsportsmanlike conduct, or 15. You hit the quarterback when he was sitting on the bench.
Right.
There's these egregious penalties for no reason. So, like a guy like Micah Parsons, and people have been arguing me down about this. I would have him playing in the middle. Like, go get another edge rusher to complement, D-Law, and let that dude stay in the middle. Let him come in on a blitz.
Yeah.
If he's going to go after the quarterback. It's going to be harder for a center to stop a blitzing linebacker up the middle anyway.
Yeah.
If it's about sacking the quarterback. But guess what? You got all that speed covering the center of the field.
Yep. Here's the thing that I have about defensive ends, and it backs your statement up completely. When you watch teams run the ball against the Cowboys, they run it towards Micah Parsons. Okay, so like he's an excellent pass rusher, right? On a third down and long, when he gets a one-on-one situation with the tackle, hell, that might be a great time to put him in there against that. But there's moments in time where you see Micah Parsons get double-teamed by a tackle and a tight end directly running at you because they know that, that's your weakness. That's your weak side of your defense. Now, I do see what you're saying. Putting him at linebacker, he fits the mold of like what Patrick Queen is for the Ravens and Roquan Smith, where they're fast in the middle and they could play sideline to sideline, no problem.
Or Warner and Hightower.
Correct.
Which, between those four linebackers, those are the best linebackers in the game right now.
I would agree with that statement.
No offense to Spillane. He's coming on, but
yeah,
I just, I hate the 49ers. I'm sorry, did that come out? I hate the 49ers.
That's why we put the helmet right behind you, bro.
But, when you watch that defense, it's like, oh, my God, these motherfuckers should never lose.
Yeah. And so let's finish with the Cowboys and what they need to do before we go into that matchup. You got the Green Bay Packers playing the
Niners.
The Niners. Boom.
I'm sorry, the Whiners.
The Whiners, your favorite team. Do you think the Cowboys fire Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy? Or one or the other?
I think, Dak was in the MVP discussion legitimately with his numbers.
For sure.
Numbers don't lie, so this is his best season, which is a testament to Mike McCarthy's, offensive play calling. Because, I don't know what everybody sees in Kellen Moore, but I didn't think he was a very good, play caller. And to prove my point, look what happened to Justin Herbert.
Facts.
I remember that dude had a broken finger. You called 2 quarterback sneaks in a row, and this dude's hurt.
Yeah.
Do you like this guy?
No,
do you like your quarterback?
For sure. That's a very great point.
But Mike McCarthy, it just, the guy has a tremendous resume because anytime you win a Super Bowl, not very many people have done that as a coach.
Yep.
Not very many coaches have even got, to a championship game, let alone the Super Bowl. So I'm going to give him credit for that right there. But he reminds me a lot of Dave Campo. Take just, yes, Jerry, yes, Jerry, yes, Jerry. Now you need to find that Jimmy Johnson again.
Right. That's willing to challenge him a little bit on.
And
I think it's just
Belichick,
it's a toughness thing. You think Belichick? I think Belichick would be one of the most interesting hops ever in sports.
There's no way on God's green earth that Belichick is losing with that same team.
I second that statement.
Because if he don't understand anything else, he understands the defense.
Yep.
And I think Jimmy Johnson started the trend with the team speed on defense. Like they're so fast on defense, but they got a couple glaring holes. Like they needed another D tackle. You know, like Van Der Esch, like he's on roller skates half the time.
Yep.
You know, it's not a. I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it. Like they need to figure out what's happening with that middle position. But
And their corners got to show up when it fucking matters most. Okay, Deron Bland sets the NFL record in Week 12 for most pick sixes in a season, and then literally gets roasted for the next 8 weeks consistently. He was the most picked on receiver. He would be lined up against the best receivers in the league every single week, and it just his luck ran out.
And Gilmore was getting cooked. Woo!
I mean, it's amazing that corners are still playing in the league at like 31 years old. I'm like, God damn, how are you still this fast? Because it's nuts, dude. The NFL moves like this. And then the next player up, all these upcoming receiver studs are all watching Tyreek Hill videos. The speed is just going to continue to grow. And it's amazing to me that like a Patrick Peterson at 34 is like guarding people, or Stephon Gilmore, it's got to be 32. There's no way he's not.
Like,
I'm looking it up.
If I'm a college coach, I'm coaching linebackers to cover Travis Kelce and Kittles. That's what I'm creating, a linebacker that can hit the hole, can cover the middle, but definitely pick up that tight end when he runs across the middle and be able to run with him.
Right.
That's going to be the next thing to develop.
Breed. Yeah. I call those, I mean, shit, dude. They're really a hybrid player. They're like a nickelback for a long time, like where you'd bring an extra safety in that's a little beefier to help manage some of that stuff. But I want to touch on the last game here going into the weekend. You got the Packers taking on the 49ers.
I got a story about San Francisco real quick.
Hit me with the story.
So, I didn't get it. Like I played 1 year college ball, and it was in Rockland, California at Sierra College.
Okay.
Why is that significant?
Sierra College?
Because the 49ers used to have their training camp at Sierra College every year. And because our colors were close to their colors, they would donate all the equipment to the team.
Oh, it's sick.
So in practice, you could wear 49ers gear or you could wear plain gear.
I mean,
so every practice, I got plain stuff on. I never was going to touch any of that 49ers crap. And one of my coaches, by the way, was Danny Buns.
Okay.
And so one day I'm going to get my gear, and the trainer throws me some Niner pants, and I hopped out the way and hit the ground. I'm like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm giving you your gear so you can get ready." And I was like, "I can't wear those." And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna tell coach you can't practice because you don't want to wear Niner pants?" Oh, really?
Damn, bro, he called you out like that.
So I had so for one practice, I was actually suited up in that bullshit. I was because they all knew that how much I didn't like the Niners.
That's awesome though that you got to get all like the leftover gear. I mean, that's sick.
And I had a bad season. That's the only season I played. I had a broken ankle. I broke my ankle 2 months before the season started, and I'm gonna get a little personal for a second. I was fresh off of selling drugs and gang banging, and I was in the process of turning my life around, and I was going to college for the first time, which I went to California to get away from my friends and everything because I was changing my life, and I probably should have sat out that season because my ankle was so bad, but I gutted it out and I played through it. And one day, I was playing, I was starting on special teams, but I played, fullback and middle linebacker.
Same here, brother. Let's go. Pop them in the middle.
One day I was kind of dogging it in practice because the coach, he got pissed off because they ran a run and shoot offense. And I wasn't, I had been on the streets selling dope and gangbanging all throughout high school, so I didn't really play football. So I was at this JC restarting my football career because I always wanted to be a pro football player. And I wasn't he wanted me to be a wingback, and I didn't like all them passes.
Right.
Right. I knew what I used to do to receivers and running backs when they stretched out the pass to catch a pass or whatever. So I switched from wingback to fullback because I just wanted to get the ball directly in my hands.
Right.
And he put me third string for that stuff. So I ended up switching to linebacker, and which I got more time at backer. But I was dogging it in practice one day, and Coach Buns pulled me aside and like he coached me up. And for the kids that don't know what coach you up means, you mean like he cussed me out, was talking shit to me.
Right, right.
And all I knew was he was this big corn-fed white boy. Like he was big as a motherfucker. He always wore them like, the coach shorts.
Yeah.
But his legs like were busting out the shorts even and stuff.
He had cankles for sure.
No, there was no fat in this dude's body at all.
No? Oh, he was diced
shredded, like 6'4". He might 6'2", 6'4". I'm 5'10", so anything over 6'1" is 6'4". So, but he was, and I didn't know, like after that season, I was watching NFL's Greatest Plays, and he was the guy that made the stop all 4 plays against the Cincinnati Bengals in their first Super Bowl. So what he told me, it became so much more valuable to me that day because he said to me, hey, I play special teams. The way I got my time is I bust my ass in practice, and that's why I got to be on the field. And, there's like 2 games left after that, which I had a great 2 games after that because he put that in my head, but I didn't know that until after the season, who he was and why he had the right to tell me what he told me.
Right, right. It's tough to accept like that coaching, and oftentimes, when kids are put into like those situations, because at the time you're a young man, you're impressionable. You have all these different moving parts and pieces and coaches, and you're like, shit. It's a lot to process, bro. And it sounds like you came from a background too that was probably pretty fast moving. So like
here in Vegas,
and it was structure that it comes through football, and that's a great
man. Structure is what saved my life. Discipline is what saved my life.
Yes, it would save everybody's life, and that's why if I ever own a company, I'm only hiring employees that played sports in the past.
I'm very much of that mindset, but also as a martial artist, like, because I know people that fight, they're like, oh, I don't like team sports. I like to just depend on myself. But then even in the fight game, like, you still have to have a team for you to have individual success.
Yeah, you're practicing against somebody, and that somebody is definitely coaching you up, and that's your team. Like, so.
But to your question.
Yes, Packers, 49ers.
You're only picking the Packers because you don't like the Niners.
They're playing pretty good right now, dude. I
is it
like
plus 10?
Plus 10.5 right now.
So money wise, I'm betting the Packers again, but I just think that we have not seen the best of Jordan Love yet. Like,
that's pretty scary.
What he did against the Cowboys, but it's hard to really evaluate because, Rob Gronkowski said it maybe 3-4 weeks ago. He said, this is not a mentally solid team. They're not mentally tough. And, to watch CeeDee Lamb unraveling, Dak was kind of like middle of the road, but the coach walking over, talking to this person, like he was leaving the sidelines, go talk to CeeDee, talking to Dak, just nobody was on the same page. They were mentally weak.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers, I think the Niners would rather see the Cowboys than the Packers.
I see what you're saying, because it kind of goes back into the same thing we were talking about earlier with the Texans. They're like so young, and they're just bought into like LaFleur and like.
And there's no more Aaron Rodgers.
Correct.
There's no shadow in the building.
Nobody's here to save you, Green Bay. Nobody's here to save you. You guys have to go out and prove it yourself.
And how about like these young receivers they got? Like Devontae Adams has got to be sitting there looking at this like, did I make the right choice?
He clearly didn't.
But I think it's gonna be about who takes control of that line, because the Niners, I mean, that front they got, like you don't have to blitz.
Yeah,
you don't have to call any blitzes, because if it's not Bosa, it's gonna be Chase Young. It's like you got to deal with that dynamic.
Yep.
And then if you got, Hightower or, coming on a stunt, or you got, it's going to be like, it's exciting football. But in the past, the Packers have done me the favor before of being the nemesis of the Niners. So I hope they do it again on Saturday.
I like this. I think, whenever you are going into the playoffs, it's great to rest players, but it's equally as good to be playing your best football for the last 5 weeks.
I agree.
Like the momentum from Green Bay right now is just screaming. I mean, it doesn't get any better than beating the Cowboys. The first ever 7 seed in NFL history to win a playoff game. That was pretty interesting that I found out. So that's a huge moment. I'm with you on that. Give me the Packers with the points. I do think what could happen, and I never wish injuries upon anybody, but doesn't it just feel like Brock Purdy in the first quarter might like get banged up a little bit, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh no, no!" If Brock Purdy comes out for a play, San Francisco implodes.
Well, I think Sam Darnold is better for that team, so it might actually be beneficial. True. I mean, I know that's like Sam Darnold, but yeah, because he had a chance to be at Mike Shanahan,
right?
Or excuse me, Kyle Shanahan,
right?
A real quarterback coach. Brock Purdy, I think, is a product of his system. I mean, I take nothing away from the young man. He's definitely played some lights out games, but when those marquee matchups, like we saw what happened when they played the Ravens. And I just think that, it's really going to depend on his play.
Yeah.
Because I don't care how good McCaffrey is. I don't care how good Kittle is, or Samuels or Ayuk. If you can't get him the ball consistently, if you can't handle that blitz, because the Packers are definitely going to blitz him.
Oh, for sure.
Like you got to deal with you got to deal with their front too. It's going to be a chess match because the knock on Kyle Shanahan is also, hey, you haven't been able to win that big one either.
Yep.
And this is, I'm really curious to see, especially with Jim Harbaugh floating around, but he's not going to go back to the Niners, so.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. He might end up with the Chargers. I think that's a better fit, in my opinion.
I'm going to show you the text message right now because I don't want you to think that I'm just saying that because I'm here with you.
Okay. While he pulls up that text message, I just want to let everybody know that you need to like, you need to share, and you need to subscribe to Gridiron Junkies because how else am I supposed to grow? All right? Brian's got to feed his family back in Nicaragua, and we got to make this happen. Right, Brian? Yeah. I mean, we just got to be rich. He hit me with 100%. So we're doing this not only for me, but for Brian, so remember that. The next thing we're going to talk about is Derek Carr, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Have we found the text?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's, this is back in December. I'm saying, Harbaugh is going to be your next coach for the Chargers. My college buddy, Martin Melendrez, excellent attorney here in town, Las Vegas. Melendrez and Hawkins, hit them up, if you have any personal injuries. But he's a diehard. I call him San Diego. I still call him San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, the San Diego Chargers.
But you saw that text, right?
Yes.
Because I think it would be perfect because the Spanos, like they've never won a championship, with the Chargers. He played for the Chargers, and Justin Herbert is what he would be looking for as the kind of quarterback he'd like to coach. Mm-hmm. I keep calling him San Diego, but the Chargers have a pretty solid team. Just Brandon Staley couldn't coach his way out of a wet paper bag.
He is one of those coaches who's dead from the ass up, is what I like to call him. Like, I never once saw him in a moment of, like, inspiring his team.
Just like Sirianni last night. I'm sorry to go back for a minute, but twice you take points off the board. Like, that's like the cardinal sin of coaching. You don't ever take points off the board.
Yep.
To try to get what you didn't get.
Right.
And now you're, like, at least you would have had 4 points. Mm-hmm. More closer to the total that you were trying to get.
It changes game situations.
Oh, man.
Momentum, flow.
So it's like, how do you make a bonehead decision like that? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Sirianni gets fired because they fired Doug Peterson after winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's true.
Watching that decision, but just for selfish reasons, I would rather see Harbaugh in LA as opposed to Vegas.
Yeah.
Before the thing with Pierce, when McDaniels was still in charge, I was like, damn, I wish we had Harbaugh. Until Pierce took over. And let me tell you something. Like, I actually, the reason why I became a Raider fan, like I said, I was born into being a Cowboys fan.
Right.
So all I knew was Dallas. I watched other teams, obviously, because I told you I played like Jack Lambert. But my mother, she was a cocktail waitress at the Las Vegas club, which is now Circa.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime pro teams came to town, they used to stay at the Las Vegas club. And the Raiders were staying there after they had won that Super Bowl against the Redskins. And, my mother was a very pretty lady, and she met Marcus Allen. He gave her a custom-made hat to give to me as a child. So the Raiders became my number 2 team after that. Now that they're in Vegas, they're my number 1 team. Jerry Jones did 4 things to make me take off my Cowboy stuff. Yeah, he got rid of Terrell Owens. He got rid of Marion Barber. He gave Tony Romo a $105 million contract extension, and then he cut DeMarcus Ware. And to me, DeMarcus Ware was the heart and soul of that team. Played every single game, even when he almost broke his neck. Just like that, I was like, until Tony Romo was gone, I'm not wearing any more Cowboy stuff. And it's funny, like I was in LA at the time, and I used to watch football games with the West Side Cowboys connection. So you'll see me in their pictures wearing my Raiders jerseys, watching Cowboy games.
That's hilarious. No, those are good four reasons. Marion Barber, excellent running back.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was prime time, like me growing up watching the Cowboys on TV. To close it out, okay, Derek Carr. This was the main reason why this podcast happened. You had told me before this season, hey, I've seen this. It's a car wreck. Didn't get the car wreck trademarked, and ESPN steals it, but whatever.
Well, that's just me talking shit. Like, that didn't have to be a trademark, but like,
it's great though.
I talk shit, better than most of them.
think about if Louisiana, like a New Orleans publication, ran with, or like a law firm, like put that on their billboards.
They
like
should.
In a car wreck, and like Derek Carr's like in the car.
No, so you should like have him on the ground crying like he usually does.
Yeah,
when he gets hit.
Yeah,
but hold on, let me say this because I don't want us to just sound like a hater. Like, first of all, I have never met Derek Carr. I don't know the man personally. From what I know about the man off the field, he's an excellent role model for people. He's a Christian. He's a family man. He raises his kids. And, from the people that I know in the league that actually know the guy, he's a decent person. So, I'm not saying anything about him personally.
Right.
But as a football fan, as a football supporter, as a diehard Raider fan, oh my God, the car wreck. He is like one of those unstable women that is just emotionally damaged, drop dead gorgeous, but it's like, damn, baby, why are you still single and you're 35 years old and you got all this ass and titties, beautiful smile, and oh, your mind is fucked up. And that's Derek Carr in the pocket. As soon as you hit him one time, he gets the happy feet, and he starts giving the ball to the other team or fumbling the ball or just making bonehead decisions. Yeah. But the thing that really drove me crazy about this man, and you got to see it because I watched him get into a fight with his teammate on the field, a lineman.
Yes. I remember the center.
We would be losing games by 20, 30 points. And he's still out there with the first team with like a minute and a half left in the game, running plays. Like, I hate to quote a Bronco, but Shannon Sharp would say, man, those are empty calories. You're stat padding.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened to him when he never should have been in that game at the end of the game against the Colts when he broke his femur. Like, you're supposed to have the backup in there because we got the playoffs coming. You got to protect your body. Nah, he's been there padding stats, to, so he can get that contract.
Yep.
And, the biggest mistake the Raiders made was giving Derek Carr that money. They were supposed to franchise him, pay Khalil Mack, not because you want to, but because he earned it.
Correct.
He earned it. People were like,
imagine what you'd have now if you had Khalil Mack and Max Crosby.
Man, like, I was watching the interview with Khalil Mack, and he said, "Man, I'm sitting there watching everybody on the other side other side of the ball get paid." Like, I've watched number 52 single-handedly win a game. Like, there was a game against the Broncos. He had 5 sacks and a sack fumble for a touchdown, and just bananas. And Derek Carr, every year, this is on me. This is on me. So, I'll forever love Josh McDaniels for getting rid of the car wreck. But when I met you and you told me that you're a Saints fan, I was like, oh, you poor guy.
Dude, and when you met me, okay, you caught me because I went through all the stages of love and hate with this man, right? So it started with last summer, before we got Derek Carr, I was like, we got Jameis Winston. And I was fired up about Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston, regardless if he's a good quarterback or not, it's like having Trump as president. He is electric on the microphone, okay? He is electric on the mic. You know that no matter what happens, win or loss, I need to see what Jameis Winston says after the game. And this man still did it as a backup. Like,
hey, 5,000 yards he passed for. Not very many quarterbacks have done that ever.
30 for 30? Ever heard of it? Okay, not the ESPN documentaries. No, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. He's a part of that crew too. So, like, I was fired up for it because I just love Jameis Winston as a person, you know? And when we got Derek Carr, I was like, shit. Now I have to, hear my uncle, who's a Raider fan, tell me about the same things you're telling me, right? We're emotionally damaged is correct, bro, because I've never seen a quarterback yell at his team more than he yells at, like, his teammates. Like, I get it. Like, Chris Olave ran the wrong route. But, like, let's not, after you overthrow him 30 yards, go, yeah, Chris Olave, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing? Like, you're on national television. Like, how do you think that makes Chris Olave feel? And it probably is Chris Olave's fault, but it's amplifying it. That's emotional damage right there.
I mean, based on what I've seen in Derek Carr's career, it might not have been Olave's fault. It might not have been.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
It sucks because every year we would be teetering. And see, this is the other thing I didn't get the chance to tell you. The knock on Carr is after the bye week, like whatever he was doing, it just plummets. He gets exponentially worse.
Feels like. Yeah.
And like there's been like we've won some games where, okay, he caught the blitz and he threw the ball up. He threw up a Hail Mary, and Ruggs, catches the ball and runs like a 50-yard touchdown, and we win the game. A game that we were getting beat the whole game, and we get a lucky play and we win.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about if you play for the Raiders, like they're used to 8-8, and they like that.
Right.
Like growing up a Cowboy fan. Like I was spoiled. Like I didn't understand how good like the Cowboys had it with all the winning, and then jumping to a team that they've won some Super Bowls. But let's be honest. Since like 2002, they've been terrible.
Right.
And shout out to Antonio Pierce. Like he had me looking for my helmet one day. I wanted to go run through a wall for that dude.
Oh, I love that.
Like he's a
good NFL coach.
He's got the Raider mystique back.
Yes.
And somebody was like, well, what are you going to do if they hire Harbaugh? And I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not going to be a Raider fan anymore. I'm probably just going to be a casual football fan and just watch the game because I love it. But, the fans, we're kind of getting tired of seeing like the turnover with the coaches. We don't have a solid quarterback. No shot. It's not a shot on AOC. He's got to be developed if he is the guy going forward. I don't think he's the guy.
Yeah, I think you guys will need to draft somebody this year, even though it all depends, right?
But we might draft a Leatherwood in the first round and end up with ass again.
Yeah. So Antonio Pierce can't go. How many head coaches get chanted their name as they're leaving their field? They didn't even make the playoffs, right? Like that never happens. And I don't think the Raiders will miss the mark on this. I think Mark Davis has got his nose to the ground. He's got his ears open to the city of Vegas, saying that, all right, this guy is what the people want. Let me not make this mistake.
Well, I would challenge you with this. How come he hasn't hired him yet then? He's still waiting. He's still trying to swing the bat for the home run.
Yeah, who would have thought that took the longest? I think I said it on a show a couple of weeks ago. I was like, that might be the quickest hire on. But then you see it's actually the Patriots who wasted literally, I think the Patriots, Belichick resigned, and 36 hours later they had Gerard Mayo as their coach. So I agree with you.
So I put up a post saying that what's going to end up happening is Davis is going to keep trying to go for this big name, and he's ignoring what he has in his face, and we're going to end up not having either one. Because the Falcons want to interview Pierce. I heard the Chargers also want to interview him.
Oh, he'll never go to the Chargers.
Hey,
He'll take the meeting, like
the Giants. I mean, they
Yeah.
still got Dable, but you know he's a hot commodity.
yeah,
And you know we're looking at these ex-linebacker coaches, you know, that are like D'Amico Ryan.
yeah.
You know,
Who's actually like it has value. There's notable value there. I just don't see how much value there is for any team that's not the Raiders. If I'm being honest, like I love Antonio Pierce. I just think that any other team, that toughness, it's just like how it took Dan Campbell 3 years to get to this exact moment. From the conference that he had when he got hired, saying that we're going to bite people's kneecaps off. 3 years later, they win a playoff game. You know, and that's what could happen if Antonio Pierce ends up with, for example, like the Falcons.
see, and he's a guy that he's done it at the highest level. He did it the right way, and he's a leader of men.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just somebody with a clipboard and got the funny looking hat on in there like a robot. Like, no, he has a personality, and he's going to get in your face. He's going to challenge you, and if you don't want to do it the way it needs to be done, hit the door.
Yeah,
like Peterson is on the street right now.
Yeah.
That dude was balling out, but he got lazy and started being complacent, started being a diva. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see you, homie. Yeah, I'm going to see you on the street.
right.
Like, he has that entire locker room behind him.
Yeah,
I can't say that about any coach that the Raiders have had, with the exception of Jack Del Rio, which he never should have got fired from that job just because Gruden decides he wants to come out of retirement.
right.
Like, Del Rio had one bad season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you know it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be really interesting to see.
We will have to have you back on as soon as the next
I'd love
NFL season is coming back around. We went well over our time. We got another show coming in after this, Laughing with Lana. Make sure you subscribe to that podcast. But Jibreel, Vegas Shogun, it was a pleasure, brother. Let the people know where they can find you.
You could find me on IG at Vegas_Shogun, and that's with 2 N's, or Facebook under Jibreel Wright II. And stay tuned. Got a lot of stuff coming up this year. Been doing some commentary for boxing events. Got some stuff coming up in Nashville, Carolina, Brazil, and here in Vegas. I'll be working with Misfits Boxing as well. Shout out to Mams Taylor and Prime Drink.
I love this.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go to one of those boxing events. Make sure you follow me at Mr. George Carmona, and at Gridiron Junkies is where you can find all the clips that'll come out from this show. We love the support, and go Lions, baby.
Click and subscribe.
Go Lions.
Raiders.
End it, Brian.